All right. It's December 30th, 2022. It's about 10:30 at night. Take this opportunity to tell you a little story. But this day, 7 years ago, me and the wife were down in Times Square for New Year's Eve. The reason we went to Times Square for New Year's Eve, well, New York City in general, not just Times Square, she had heard a term on the internet, baby moon. For those of you who have never heard it, up until that point, I'd never heard it. It's basically last vacation before your child is born because you know you ain't going to get another one anytime soon. So it was her idea to go down there for New Year's Eve, which, I had been to New York City a few times, and like they say, it's a nice place to visit, so I had no problem going back. We get down there, and then a quick side note of the story is that my family is half Polish on my mom's side. And of course, unlike some people, you look at their general features, hair color, skin tone, you can generally guess what their ethnic background is and all that. To the best of my knowledge, there are no such indicators for anybody who has, Polish in their background. And this will come into play in a minute. This whole point of the story has to do with being Polish. So, we get there December 30th, late afternoon, early evening. After we get settled in, we go to, at the base of the Empire State Building, there's a really nice restaurant. Like everything else in Manhattan, it's pricey as hell, but we thought it was worth it. After we eat, she wanted to go up to the observatory on the Empire State Building. I had been there once before, a senior class trip, way back in 1990, a million years ago, but she had never been up there. So we go up there, and the guy who was working the gate or whatever had told us that it just happened to be overcast and we probably wouldn't see anything. Recommended we come back the next day during daylight hours, which she had no problem with. I didn't care. I was in New York City. What do I care? Let's go do touristy shit. So if I remember correctly, the Empire State Building is about 34th Street, I think, in Manhattan. And Times Square, which we walked up to Times Square, is about 41st, 42nd Street, I think. And again, to remind you that this was 4 months before Evie was born. And that's where the whole baby moon thing comes in. And if you grew up in a small city like I did, Oswego, a city block is not really that big a deal. But New York City and any other big city, the average city block is easily 2-3 times that size. So for a 5-month pregnant woman to be walking, let alone an average city block in a small town, to be walking about 6 or 7 New York City blocks is pretty impressive. Another quick tip is like the bodegas and other stores in, Midtown Manhattan are famous for never letting people use their bathroom, so I'm told. Even if you buy something. Like, you go to a store here in Watertown or down in Oswego, you go in, you buy a soda or something, they don't have a problem letting you use the bathroom. But New York City, that shit ain't happening. But if you happen to have a very pregnant wife with you, they'll let you use the bathroom. You ain't even got to buy nothing. You just walk in. So the pregnant lady bathroom, and they're pointing back where it is. Anyway, back on track now. We go from the Empire State Building up to Times Square. And even though it's the day before New Year's Eve, there's still a whole bunch of shit going on. We can see crowds where people were guessing celebrities, being interviewed and all that stuff for your usual New Year's Eve television type of shit. And somebody, we're just, standing around taking it all in. Somebody mentions that if you turn around, we look up, the building where the ball is, where they do the big countdown, it's like that, there it is, and there's the ball. So, this is where the Polish part comes in, because there's a bunch of old stereotypes I always heard growing up as a kid, that Polish people do things backwards. That's one of the derogatory stereotypes. So here I am, half Polish kid, in Times Square, December 30th, and I got to watch the ball go up. So that's the whole moral of the story. Polish New Year. Frank Costanza has Festivus. I have my Polish New Year, December 30th, 2015. And there you go. That's my story. Happy New Year. See you.